The story begins with three thieves who plan to break into the counting room of a racetrack and steal. Everything was going according to plan, but then an employee showed up with his family behind the counting room. He saw some unfamiliar vehicles parked outside and immediately knew a robbery was happening. But instead of calling the police, he picked up a gun, declared he was going to rob the thieves himself, ran outside, and opened fire on the gang. Then he grabbed a bag of money and started running. Parker, the leader of the thieves, immediately ran after him. But the man ran straight for the horses. He drove his cart into the middle of the track. The galloping horses collided with his cart. Parker managed to escape from under the horses while they were jumping over the man's carriage. Eventually, Parker shot him and got his money back. But he left a small gift as he departed. Parker and his team then arrived at their base. Unfortunately, one of his companions was dead, and the third thief, Philly, had been shot in the shoulder. He quickly began treating him. Driver Zahn started changing her clothes right there, and Parker watched her closely. Suddenly, Zahn pulled out a gun and opened fire on everyone. She fired. One by one, she killed Parker's entire team. Parker tried to escape but was shot and died. He fell into the river. A short time later, when Parker woke up, he was in a motel. The first thing he said was, "I've been to room 12. He had asked for a place. But the hotel owner told him that room 12 was already taken. Parker then angrily attacked the people in room 12. He kicked them out. He broke down the wall and retrieved some of his belongings. From there, Parker went straight to Philly's house. His wife, Grace, asked him about her husband. But when Parker didn't answer, she understood. Parker told her about Jane. He told her everything about the betrayal. Grace said, "Philly respected you a lot. He thought you were special. Nothing will go wrong with you around." Parker now asks Grace for help finding Zahn. She promises that Philly's share, all the money, will be yours. Grace wasn't very interested in money anymore. But she still gave Parker a lead. She gave him the address of a man named Riley and said he could help. But in return, Parker has to kill Zahn. Later, Parker called one of his friends, Elaine, and asked for help finding Reggie. Parker soon found Reggie. "Where's my driver, Jamie?" Parker calmly replied, "He's sleeping." Parker wasted no time in asking about Zahn. He asked, "You introduced him to Philly, didn't you?" Reggie replied, "I've only worked with Zahn twice. She previously served in the army of a South American king." Reggie said, "I just spoke with her a little while ago." Then Parker whispered, "Someone's following us. He's doing it." Zahn probably sent his men to kill Reggie. Now, out of fear, Reggie gives Parker Zahn's address. But suddenly, another car collides with theirs. At that moment, Zahn's men started moving toward Parker's car. Parker and his men immediately counterattacked. Reggie was killed in the ensuing gunfight. But then Reggie's driver came out of the trunk and opened fire on the attackers. They soon killed him, though. Parker then shot one of the gangsters in the leg and captured him alive. Parker thought he could reach Zahn through this man. Meanwhile, Zahn was meeting with a man named Bosco. Bosco was going to give her the plan for the next heist tonight. Zahn told her, "You have no idea, but you're doing a great service." But Bosco only wanted his money. He knew that as soon as Zahn got the plan, she'd kill him. He didn't trust her one bit. Suddenly, Parker burst in and pointed a gun at Zahn. He began to say, "Where's my money?" As Bosco tried to pull out his gun, Parker shot him immediately. She screamed, "What have you done?" Zahn needed him alive at any cost. Zahn had spent all the money she got from Parker on this new mission. They had planted it in the trash, and now Parker had ruined everything. Then suddenly, Bosco woke up, still alive, and attacked Zahn. Parker then shot him again, killing him this time. Parker then asked Zahn about their next heist. Zahn explained that they were going to rob a bank truck. He could retire. He was about to steal $4 million, but Bosco had all the routes in court. Parker replied, "It's a great story. Tell me the truth, or I'll blow you to pieces." Now, Zahn reveals his true plan. They're planning to loot an entire country. He said that 4 months ago, a stolen treasure had been found in his country. It was a 15th century ship called the Lady of Art. Its value is so high that even if you spent 1 crore rupees a day, that's over $35,000, it would take years. But the corrupt president there, Ignacio Depas, doesn't want it to end poverty. He wants it solely for himself. He wants it displayed as a spectacle at the United Nations. And then, cleverly, he'll pretend to have it stolen so no one suspects him. That way, he can keep the entire treasure. But Zahn's plan was to steal the treasure beforehand. The only problem? The president had assigned the job of stealing it to a very dangerous organization. Their name is the Outfit. Parker didn't get along well with them. Now we see their leader, Lugaini, at the Outfit's headquarters. He was asking one of his men, Kane, if everything was going well. Kane replied, "Everything's fine. Only Bosco is missing. But he's already finished his work, so it doesn't seem like there'll be any problems." But Luigini said, "I can't take any risks. Find Bosco. Get it done at any cost." Parker, along with his partner Elaine, went to meet Zahn's boss, Colonel Fabrizio. The colonel started telling them the story of the ship. But Parker interrupted him, saying, "I don't want any stories, sir. Tell me your plan. What are you going to do?" Parker said, "I'll help with the heist. But in return, I want a 30% share, which works out to about $300 million. The colonel had a fake statue made to look like the Lady of Art. His plan was to replace it with the real statue and cover up the theft. Parker then said that covering up the theft was the least of their problems. Their biggest problem? The UN building. It's one of the most heavily guarded buildings in the world. Parker then said, "We'll steal it from there." "Well, not exactly. We can't steal it from them. We can steal this treasure from the president's thieves. Let them steal it first, then we'll steal it from them." After that, a member of Zahn's team warned Parker to stay away from Zahn. Soon, Elaine also learned that the group the president is about to hire for the theft is none other than the Outfit itself. Elaine angrily said to Parker, "Are you crazy? We made a deal with them not to go to New York, and now they've entered New York." Parker smiled slightly and said, "Relax. You know I always manage to escape. No matter what." Elaine also understood that $300 million was a large enough figure to warrant the risk. Then that evening, Parker and Zahn arrived at a club. Meanwhile, Elaine watched Kane from afar. Parker and Zahn were actually there to meet Bosco's boyfriend. Zahn whispered, "I should talk to her alone. I've met her before." But Parker didn't trust Zahn at all. She had already betrayed him. She had killed his whole crew. Still, when Zahn started talking to the man, Parker got straight to the point and said Bosco was dead. Nick was completely shocked. He broke down. He started crying. They asked him where Bosco's planned documents were. Just then, Kane's men arrived outside the club and started firing. They grabbed Nick, beat him, and demanded where Bosco was. But then Nick suddenly suffered a heart attack. Zahn immediately declared that he was a doctor and, seeing the opportunity, fired at the goons and tried to save Nick. Parker went straight upstairs to Bosco's room. He completely tore apart one of his stuffed toys. Actually, Bosco had a lot of them, all toys like this. Eventually, Parker found the planned documents. But then Kane arrived. Soon, Parker and Kane got into a fierce fight, and Parker finally threw Kane off a balcony. Police were present below, and Parker threw Kane directly onto their car. But Parker didn't tell Elaine that Kane had seen her. Now the news would reach the Outfit's leader. Still, they got out safely. Meanwhile, Kane's bones were broken. Lazzini asked him what happened. Kane replied, "We didn't find Bosco, but Parker was there." Lazzini angrily said he should have been told as soon as he heard Parker's name. We then see some of Parker's friends. They were all going to be part of Parker's plan. Parker explained that the Outfit would steal the treasure within 24 hours. He didn't know how they'd do it. But he did know that a secret train runs beneath the UN building. The route leads to the building. They will take the treasure from there. This train is automatic. It usually carries the building's garbage. But tomorrow it won't stop at any stations. It will go straight to the final dump, and that's where Parker and his companions will enter. They plan to take control of the train by breaking into the control room and taking over. Then they'd increase the speed. Parker gave Brenda and Ed the control center manual and told them to read it very carefully. He said that according to Bosco's plans, there would also be a man from the Outfit there. So they'd have to handle this man. Elaine's responsibility was to go to train stations and disable the failsafes, so the speeding train's brakes wouldn't automatically activate. The train, traveling at 70 miles per hour, would crash right here, and then Parker's crew would steal all the treasure. After explaining his plan, Parker left. He checked into a hotel and booked room number 12. But Zahn had already arrived. He looked her in the eye and said, "We have to succeed in this mission at any cost." She had to. She couldn't risk Parker backing down in fear. But then Mateo, who had a crush on Zahn, arrived and immediately attacked Parker. He tied Parker outside in the snow and started pouring buckets of water on him. He ruthlessly declared, "You'll be dead right here in 30 minutes because the outfit is coming to get you." Parker angrily retorted, "Are you guys crazy? You think the outfit will just let you go? They'll know everything you're up to." Mateo laughed and said, "We'll meet in a bit." Then he and his partner started leaving. But a car pulled up. Mateo told his partner to go check it out. Then Parker started shouting, "Untie me! I know these people." But then Mateo heard his partner scream and panicked. He opened the door, and just then, Zahn appeared from behind. She had tracked Mateo's phone and arrived. But even she didn't know where that screaming was coming from. At that very moment, Parker saved Mateo's life from an attack by the outfit. A shocked Mateo asked, "Why did you save my life?" But then, in the next moment, Parker used him as a human shield. Then, Parker answered a phone call from one of the outfit's men. It was Lazzini on the phone. Lazzini said coldly, "We had a deal. You'll stay out of my town, and I won't kill you. I left you 3 years ago because you betrayed me. I killed the boss, which was a huge advantage for me." Now Lazzini threatened Parker, saying he ran the entire outfit and Parker is alone. He told Parker to forget whatever he'd planned. "I found out everything. We'll steal it tomorrow." No! The robbery was still happening. Parker had to quickly reschedule his plan. He called his crew, but everyone was partying wildly. They were completely drunk. Meanwhile, Ed and Brenda had changed and arrived at the control center. They asked for the door to be opened because there was a problem. Ed explained that a man had changed the train's route. But then, suddenly, the man from the outfit pointed a gun at the workers in the control center and ordered them to raise their hands. Then an employee opened the gates. At that very moment, Ed punched the man from the outfit hard, and people started applauding. But then, the next moment, Ed pointed a gun at everyone and announced that the train was now under his control. Ed then tried to operate the train according to the manual, but the controls failed. The panel was quite different. Then an employee helped him a little. He began to increase the speed of the train. The train gradually picked up speed. The train started to catch up. They needed it to turn at 70 miles per hour. Then, as Elaine reached to disable the failsafe switch, her gun slipped out of her hand. She couldn't disable the switch with her bare hands. But then, at the last moment, Elaine managed to disable it. She gave it everything and was able to avoid the oncoming train at the perfect moment. The speed had now reached 60 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Parker and Zahn were at the crash site. They had arrived. But because the speed wasn't 70, the train didn't derail at the turning point. Parker immediately told them not to stop the train. "Increase the speed. There's another turn ahead." Then he told Elaine about the next failsafe switch. Stan was driving drunk, and Elaine was looking for the failsafe switch. When Stan hit her, his truck also crashed. A moment later, Elaine regained consciousness and saw a failsafe switch in front of him. He shot at the switch and disabled it just in time. This time, the train speed was too high, and it finally derailed. The train came from a much higher altitude and much faster. At that very moment, Zahn started his car in reverse at full speed. Poor Elaine barely survived. The treasure box was finally in their possession. But when they opened it, they found only stones inside. It was actually a trap set by Lazzini. A tracker was installed inside, and Lazzini's men arrived shortly after. Parker and his team put up a strong fight. The police arrived, and Parker and his team tried to escape. But their car was badly damaged. Then 2 police cars arrived. One of the cars had a man sitting inside, and that's how they managed to escape. It was over. The next morning, the incident was all over the news. Zahn then left and told Parker to go home and tell everyone the bad news. But Parker said, "It's never like that. I have a plan." He brought Zahn back and told his team, "I have an idea." But Elaine became furious. She asked Parker why he lied about not knowing about the outfit. Now Parker's team had lost. She had agreed to this. Elaine said, "Now both the police and Lazzini are after me. I don't know where to hide or what to do." Parker explained his new plan, saying the treasure might have been sold by now and they might have divided the money, but the statue must be hidden somewhere. It's worth at least 500 million. Now they just have to find a buyer. Parker said he would get this information from Kane. Kane learned that someone was about to jump from the roof of his building. He sent his man upstairs to check. As soon as he got there, Parker knocked him unconscious and threw him down. Then Parker and Elaine put on police uniforms and entered Kane's apartment. They said someone had jumped from the building. They had some questions to ask. Once inside, they found Kane. Parker asked him to tell him exactly who the buyer of the statue was. Fearfully, Kane replied, "I'll tell you everything. Don't kill me." Parker calmly replied, "No, I'm definitely not throwing you off the building." But knowing that Parker had already killed his partner, thrown him from the building, Kane fainted in fear. So they asked his caretaker instead. The caretaker told them the buyer's name was Phineas Paul, who had just posted a photo of himself eating. Parker went straight to Phineas and asked him about the Lady of Art. Phineas arrogantly retorted, "Do you even know what you're talking about?" Parker then shot a wealthy man who was meeting with him. Then he kidnapped Phineas at gunpoint. Phineas, fearfully, explained that the statue hadn't arrived yet. But he knew where it was kept. It was inside a safe. Even if someone broke down the safe's door, the statue was a special treasure locked in a security cage made of incredibly tough metal. You couldn't break it. It was made by Phineas's company. Phineas nervously said that it would take several days to cut the cage and that it would only open itself tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Parker immediately opened the website and found that the statue was kept in safe number 1. Then everyone left Phineas with Stan and went to steal the statue. Meanwhile, the vault's security guards were watching the CCTV cameras. They saw a woman jogging on the road. A car nearly hit her, but the cameras suddenly went black. Then a security guard went outside to check. Then Elaine trapped him with her acting. At that moment, Zahn came from behind and knocked him unconscious. Then Elaine shot the security guard. They used the security card to get inside. Then they knocked out the other security guard. Meanwhile, Stan was dancing in front of Phineas, chattering non-stop. Finally, Stan fell asleep, exhausted. Then Phineas saw his chance and escaped. He stopped a passing car, borrowed the phone, and called Lazzini. He told him everything. Lazzini immediately gathered his men and headed for the vault. His man said there was nothing to worry about because no one could get inside. But Lazzini knew Parker. Meanwhile, Parker and Elaine blew open the vault doors. By then, Lazzini had also arrived. But Parker had already taken the statue before Lazzini could get inside. He now chased after Parker, and 2 cars crashed into Parker and Elaine. And from there, their chase began. Lazzini's men were firing at them. Parker got out of the car and started tying the statue securely to the moving vehicle while fighting off Lazzini's goons. But during this time, the ropes holding the statue began to slowly unravel. Suddenly, Parker fell from his car. But then Zahn arrived just in time to save Parker from Lazzini's men. By then, the statue had been stolen from Elaine's pickup truck. It fell and landed directly in the hands of Lazzini's men. Lazzini then called Phineas and said, "We have the statue, and we're delivering it right away." Phineas, surprised, said it was impossible to open that cage. But Lazzini said Parker had opened it. After that, Lazzini's men arrived at Phineas's house. But Phineas said he could only make the payment tomorrow morning. Then Phineas closed the door and smiled at the statue. He said he had finally found it. Suddenly, a small piece of the statue fell to the ground. Phineas picked it up and carefully examined it. He immediately realized it was a fake. Meanwhile, President Deepus himself appeared and called Lazzini. He said, "Now you can't escape." Lazzini was shocked to discover that the statue was a fake. He realized that the real statue had never been taken out of the safe. Actually, this was all Parker's plan. Meanwhile, Parker was back in the vault. It was now 8 in the morning, and the cage opened automatically. Then they loaded the real statue, but Lazzini arrived as well. He realized Parker had fooled everyone by changing the safe's numbers. He turned 1 into 3 and 3 into 1. He blew the gate of an empty vault and pretended to run away so everyone thought he was escaping with the statue. But that was all a lie. Now Lazzini said, "I won't let you leave here." But Parker remained calm and asked, "Is the outfit in bad shape?" "Yes," Lazzini revealed. He'd been keeping an eye on the company. He discovered their business was going under, and to save it, he took on the deepest mission. Without it, the outfit would have gone bankrupt. At that moment, Parker brandished a bomb remote and declared, "I won't let you take this either. If I can't take it, no one will." Then Deepas's men came out. Lazzini was now completely surrounded. Then Parker blew up the statue. Finally, a dying Lazzini said in a low voice that they could have made a deal. It was a $500 million statue. Parker then smiled and said, "You were saying I was alone? I've got your entire organization covered." As Parker was saying goodbye to his team, he gave them the remaining diamonds from the statue, saying, "At least this will cover your expenses." Later, Parker visited Zahn at a hotel. Zahn was watching the news, where the truth about her country's president had been revealed. Part of the treasure had been found in a warehouse in Lazzini's possession and was now about to reach Zahn's men. Eventually, Zahn found Parker. She thanked him and asked if he would come with her to her country. Parker remained completely calm and said, "No, I can't." His mind flashed back to the moment when Zahn had killed his friend Philly. He had promised Philly's widow that he would kill Zahn. He would. "I was just pretending to like you at first so I could get my work done," Zahn said softly. "But you know what? I didn't even notice when the drama became reality." Parker lowered his eyes slightly and said, "Neither did I." But the next moment, Parker shot Zahn and left. He went straight to Philly's widow, Grace, and gave her some diamonds, saying they were Philly's share.